what is happening? This is Philadelphia Eagles Now by Chat Sports. I'm Chase Sr., and coming up on today's show, the Birds signing a former third-round pick at running back, and Philadelphia linked to a sneaky good wide receiver who could be a very good wide receiver 3 alongside DeVonta Smith and A.J. Brown on this roster. Will they pull the trigger in free agency, and does it make sense? Let's begin with the newest addition to this Eagles roster. It is Ty Davis-Price. Once again, Philadelphia picking up a former Niners running back off the scrap heap. They did this a couple of years ago with Trey Sermon, who was also a third-round pick. And now they're signing Ty Davis-Price to a reserve futures contract. His agency tweeting this out just moments ago on this beautiful Tuesday. Congratulations to our very own Ty Davis-Price on signing the biggest reserve futures contract in the league. Best contract in that category, of course, of the 396 this year. Don't mind him, just writing history, ball out in Philadelphia. Now, of course, that's from his agency. They're always going to hype up their client, but it is of note here that of the 396 players to sign one of these futures contracts, Philadelphia liking Ty Davis-Price enough to give him the biggest contract among those types of deals going into free agency. More on the player here. I liked him coming out of LSU. I disagreed with the Niners' pick in drafting him in the third round. I thought that was a little bit too early. Has barely played in his NFL career. That partially due to the fact that the Niners traded for Christian McCaffrey a season and a half ago, and he's been a stellar player. First team All-Pro in 2023. Led the NFL in rushing yards and had more than 2,000 all-purpose yards for San Francisco en route to that Super Bowl appearance. So because of that, Ty Davis-Price has barely played. 40 carries, 120 yards in his career in 2 seasons. Has a solid skill set, a good balance here of power running through you, picking up short yardage, but has some good balance as well to maintain his footing. The weakness for him and why he's barely played, because Kyle Shanahan will lose his trust in you very, very quickly, he sucks at pass blocking. And if he can't pass block in the NFL, and if you can't pass block at the NFL level, you're just going to be a limited back who's not going to be a 3-down back in this league. Also can't really catch the ball out of the backfield. So the Eagles doing it again. They signed Trey Sermon going into 2022, and now going into 2024, another former Niners third-round pick who flailed with San Francisco. We'll see if he becomes anything with Philadelphia. Trey Sermon did not, but then late this past year with the Indianapolis Colts, Sermon actually played pretty well. Ty Davis-Price up to this point, he's only played in those 7 games. That's why he has those 40 carries for 120 yards, average yards per carry on that limited sample size of just 3 along of 20. His career at LSU, he did step in during that national championship run and was a pretty good back for that LSU team that was led by Joe Burrow, and they were just loaded at the wide receiver spot. 64 carries that year, 295 yards as a freshman, did find the end zone 6 times. In 2020, he played in 9 games. Carries do go up to 104. Yards go up to 446, 3 touchdowns, and then he really vaulted up some draft boards in his junior season, 2021, he had 211 carries, more than 1,000 yards, 6 touchdowns. He finished the back half of the year on an absolute tear after he started very, very slow during that 2021 campaign. Limited receiving production as well, and when he did run the football, each year he averaged more than 4 yards per carry on an LSU team and LSU teams that did feature a lot of good running backs during that stretch, but only 28 catches, 185 yards, and 0 touchdowns. So can't pass block, limited receiving option, but Eagles fans and myself, we've been clamoring for a short yardage back. And we've seen these types of backs have success. You think back to LeGarrette Blount during that Super Bowl run. We thought we had another physical back who could pick up short yardage situations. In a player like Rashad Penny, who was a healthy scratch basically all throughout this past year. Maybe Ty Davis-Price can be that player, otherwise known as TDP. Here's the scouting report on Ty Davis-Price coming out of LSU from NFL.com. And I share some similar thoughts here and shared similar thoughts in the pre-draft process. Big athletic back, offering an enticing blend of size and explosiveness to go with that SEC pedigree. Davis-Price's early season tape, listless and lacking pro quality, but that changed over the second half of the year. He's an enigmatic back featuring urgency, indecisiveness, physicality, and finesse on any given carry. Got much better as the season progressed in his junior campaign and found a rhythm when given volume carries. Scouts say that staying motivated will be a major factor in future success. His athletic ability and hammerhead finishes will help him create yardage, has the size and upside worthy of consideration in the middle rounds. And that's where I kind of slated him, in the middle rounds. Instead, the Niners, they drafted him in the third round. And look, if you're not motivated, you're not going to play for a lot of coaches in the NFL. That includes Kyle Shanahan. It includes Nick Sirianni, who loves ball, and he wants you to love ball as well. But this, of course, is a pretty interesting acquisition for Philadelphia because DeAndre Swift is going to be a free agent. Boston Scott, a pending free agent as well. So the Eagles needing to bulk up a little bit at that running back position. Wild card guess. This will be the pinned comment for today's video. Who will lead the Eagles in rushing in 2024? If you think they're going to sign Derrick Henry, type Derrick Henry. You think it's going to be DeAndre Swift? I'd like to see him come back. Drop his name. Somebody else who I didn't mention? Let us know down in the comment section. So already we talk about TDP. Eagles signing a former third-round pick at the running back spot. Coming up next here on the show, Philadelphia linked to a sneaky good wide receiver, 4.3 speed, inside-outside versatility. We're talking Darnell Mooney. First, today's Eagles Now is sponsored by PrizePicks. PrizePicks, making daily fantasy sports easy and the best deal that any DFS app has to offer. A $100 deposit match at prizepicks.com/CLNS. You pick two or more players. You choose more or less on the projected stat lines. And I'll tell you what, when I was growing up as a young pup in Westchester, I fell in love with sports because I absolutely loved baseball. Yeah, we're getting close to Major League Baseball coming around for the regular season. Pitchers and catchers. Full squads already reporting to Florida, as well as Arizona, the Philadelphia Phillies in Clearwater. And we have some Major League Baseball picks for you, as you can see right here on your screen, including an Aaron Nola more or less. So you can get in on the action with PrizePicks right now, prizepicks.com/CLNS. You can combine sports as well, NBA, Major League Baseball, whatever you want. All that information hanging out for you down in the comment section and in the description of this video. So as we look ahead on this February 20th to free agency coming up on March 14th, the Eagles have been linked to Bears wide receiver Darnell Mooney, who's going to hit free agency here. And he would be a very solid wide receiver 3 option for Philadelphia. His production his first 2 years, very, very good. And then after the Bears made that coaching change, going from Matt Nagy to Matt Eberflus, and then under new offensive coordinator Luke Getsy, who's now the new OC for the Las Vegas Raiders, Darnell Mooney's production really went down. I'm not sure the reasons for that. Wasn't really featured as much in Luke Getsy's system. Luke Getsy, a Packer disciple under Matt LaFleur. But you look at his numbers here. First 2 years, first as a rookie, and then in year 2, I thought Darnell Mooney was a really, really solid player. Explosive versatility to his game, as I noted. Inside-outside ability, a deep threat because he has really good speed. He comes into the league, 61 catches, 631 yards on a bad Bears team, and 4 touchdowns. That's a really solid season. And then in year 2, those numbers increase to 81 catches, more than 1,000 yards, 13 yards per pop, and 4 touchdowns. You're thinking after the Bears drafted Justin Fields, and there was this conversation being had among Bears fans and here at Chat Sports on our Bears channel that Darnell Mooney could be an excellent number 2, maybe the ability to be a number 1 wide receiver in this league. But what happens the last 2 campaigns? I mean, the production just plummets a lot. Now, part of that, games played in 2022 goes down to 12, but still, you can see the numbers just basically cut in half from year 2 to year 3. And then this past year, 31 catches, 414 yards, 13 yards per pop, and 1 touchdown. Because of that, though, this could end up being good news for Philadelphia because the Bears' garbage could turn into the Eagles' gold. And because of that, they could get him at a rate, 1-year deal, $7 to $10 million, which I think would be an exceptional deal. And I think that he'd be utilized really well in this offense. He would be a massive upgrade from a guy like Olamide Zaccheaus, who I like the signing of Olamide Zaccheaus in free agency last year. And I thought he could have been utilized a little bit more. But wide receiver 3 is a big need for the Eagles. And I think that they need to get even better than a player like Zaccheaus and, of course, Quez Watkins as well, who all he brings to the field is just vertical speed. And I never want to see Quez Watkins in an Eagles uniform again. Now, what's of note here and what's something to monitor, how is Howie Roseman going to address wide receiver 3? And what is the path going to be? Are you going to sign a player like Darnell Mooney on a 1-year deal, $7 to $10 million per? Or are you going to address this position in the NFL draft, 2nd round, 3rd round? Shoot, wouldn't surprise me if the Eagles go with the wide receiver in round 1, depending what their plans are with DeVonta Smith. And if you address wide receiver 3 in the draft, then you're getting a player at a much more affordable price tag. You know, you get a guy in the 1st round, 2nd round, you're paying them $3-4 million as compared to the 7 to 10 for a player like Darnell Mooney, but young and inexperienced player. There could be a little bit of that rookie lull, whereas if you select Mooney in free agency, you decide to sign him, he can impact your offense right from the jump. He's a known commodity. You know what you're getting. 4.3 speed, and what I like about him, you can use him in the slot and on the outside on the perimeter. You can do the same thing with DeVonta Smith. So I like what Kellen Moore would be able to do with your 3 wide receivers there. A.J. Brown, DeVonta Smith, as well as Darnell Mooney. You can interchange them inside, outside. You see, his career snaps in the slot, 45.5%. Career snaps on the outside, 53.3%. So nearly identical there. He's still a young player, too, who if you get him on a short-term deal, really going to want to prove himself. You might be getting the best version of Darnell Mooney like we saw in year 1, year 2. He turns 27 years old in December. How should the Eagles attack wide receiver 3? D for the draft, F for free agency. I'm fine with either here. Obviously, with the draft, it comes down to best player available. Share your thoughts with us. Don't forget to subscribe. This is your go-to spot for the best Eagles coverage all offseason.